Greetings, beautiful humans of Earth. It is I, Christina, here at Fit and Bendy, and today we are going to be doing a short, no equipment workout for our fingers and wrists. And this is to counter all of the typing or guitar playing or little things that you do that might make your hands and wrists tight, and it's a great complement to go with our shoulder workouts. All right, let's get started. Start by just shaking things out a little bit. You want your shoulders and neck to be as relaxed as possible. And then we're going to open and close our hands as fast as we possibly can for 30 seconds. Now, if you have long nails, you may want your thumbs to be on the inside so you don't stab yourself. Otherwise, go ahead and put your thumbs on the outside. And I'm just going to keep my arms kind of low and relaxed for this. And I've got us timed on the clock. So ready and go. Open and close fast as you can. And it may be that a little ways into this, you start to get tired and you start to slow down a little bit. No big deal. Just keep going. It gets surprisingly difficult. And we have about 10 more seconds to go. And hopefully you're starting to feel that burn in the forearms, maybe a little bit of cramping in your hands and fingers. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and shake it out. Hello, muscles. Now, holding your arms out in front of you, make that fist again, and we're going to do some big circles with the wrist. And as you're doing this, kind of squeeze your elbows a little bit into your rib cage to make sure that you're not using your shoulders to get the motion. You really want the motion to come from the elbow and the wrist. And if you're like me, there's all sorts of percussive stuff happening there in your wrist. Let's switch directions now. And we're making the fist just to keep the fingers out of it for now. We're about to do a bunch of stuff for the fingers, but for now we're really concentrating on that wrist rotation. It's also fun to notice if you can feel a real difference right to left. All right, shake it out again, and let's get into some finger stuff. So you're going to place your fingers together as if you're about to have a clairvoyant moment, and putting a little bit of pressure between your hands. Feel your fingers spread out really wide. You might want to feel a stretch in between the webbing of your fingers. And then on the next phase, we're going to try to press the knuckles of the fingers together. So we're starting to get a stretch in the fingers. And as I'm doing that, I'm moving my hands down to try to really deepen that stretch. And then the final phase, I'm pressing the palms together as well, keeping my hands as low as possible. So now I'm getting that stretch in the wrists, and we're going to reverse it. The palms come apart, pressing the knuckles together, my hands lower down a little bit to get that deep stretch. And then the knuckles come apart, and I stretch the fingers out nice and wide, feel the webbing. Let's do it again. Knuckles, trying to keep the shoulders relaxed. So notice if you're starting to hunch up. And then palms, lowering down as much as possible. And then knuckles again, pressing into those finger joints. And come apart. Now, if your hands and fingers are really tight, this might be happening up here. That's okay. I'm hypermobile, so I have a lot of mobility here. Don't worry if this feels really tight and cranky. Just make it work as best as you can for you and put your hands wherever they need to be. We're doing it one more time. Knuckles and palms. Press those palms together. Lower them down. Feel that deep stretch through the wrists. And then knuckles one more time. Spread out those fingers. Get that stretch in between the fingers. Create that pressure. Pressing the fingertips together to warm up the whole hand. You feel this through the whole palm of your hand. And shake it out again. We're going to do the same thing, flipped over. So it's going to give you a slightly different stretch. So now your fingers are facing down instead of up. And again, spreading them out nice and wide. Feel that stretch in between each finger. Knuckles come together, and now I'm lifting them up a little bit to start to get that stretch through the fingers going down. And heels of the hands, again, lifting them kind of up towards my chin. And then we go back down. Back to the knuckles and fingertips. Hopefully you're feeling not just a stretch, but also some work through the fingers. and the palms and the wrists. And heels of the hands again. Spread out those thumbs too. Don't just let the thumbs hanging out. And apart. And fingertips one more time. And this is something that you can do if you're just like sitting at your desk and you have a little break, taking a break from whatever you're doing, to try to open up the wrists and the hands and the fingers, get the blood flowing, and prevent some of the tight crankiness that can happen. Spread those fingers out when we do a lot of repetitive work with our hands. Shake, shake, shake. All right, we're going to do one more specifically for the thumbs because I know it was kind of hard to get the thumbs on that last one. You're going to make a diamond shape between your pointer finger and your thumb, and you're just going to try to press them together and squeeze that diamond shape together and hold. And we're just going to take a couple breaths here, and hopefully you can feel that stretch in the thumb, but at the same time, there's a little bit of stabilization, right? Because you don't want the hands to move around too much. So it's not just a passive stretch. There's also a little bit of strength and control that has to happen here. And you want to imagine that you could touch the webbing of your two thumbs together here. And one more breath. And shake it out. All right, we are going to do some work for the forearms now. And you have a few different options of how you can hold your arms through this that make it more difficult. So if you have your elbows bent kind of down by your sides, this is going to be the most relaxing version. If you extend your arms out in front of you like a zombie, that's going to be a little bit more intense. That's the version I'm going to do for this video. If you want to make it even more intense than that, you can do it with your arms up over your head. This adds all the work of the shoulders. The most important thing with whatever option you choose is to not let the elbows do the work. We're really trying to hold the elbows still and get the work into the wrists. So whichever arm version you choose, I'm going with zombie. We're going to start to do double tap up, double tap down. So it's a little pulse. And as you're doing that pulse, you want to feel the muscles of your forearms working. I should note that if you're doing zombie arms, you want to make sure that your hands are slightly lower than your shoulders. You don't want to be full zombie mode. You're like relaxed zombie mode. Good. And as you're doing this, you're trying to spread your fingers out wide like Mickey Mouse hands, thumbs included, and totally normal to get little snap, crackle, pops in there. We're going to do two more. And last one. And then just bloop. Flip the hands over and we're pulsing the other direction. So there's little pulses down and up. And when the palms face the ceiling, it's just a slightly different feeling, slightly different muscles. We're changing the orientation of the elbows. And by this point, your arms might be starting to get a little bit tired. Yay! If this feels like too many reps for you, if you're newer to doing wrist work, just stop and shake them out whenever you need to. Don't push it too hard. We're going to do last one, pulse, and a little shake. All right, this next exercise is my favorite, and it's also, I think, the hardest. So you're going to hold your arms out in front of you, like you're saying, stop in the name of love. And then you're going to bring your palms down, curl your fingers under like you're trying to scratch your own forearms, roll through the fingers, and extend them back up. I call this one the claw. You're kind of clawing the air. And there's this wonderful unfurling of the fingers that happens at the top. And if you're doing it right, this should really make a good burn in your forearms. And it really works your fingers and helps your wrist flexibility. So I'm trying to go from maximum curling under to maximum pulling my fingertips back towards my face every single time I do this. Let's do one more in this direction. Curl and extend, and then bloop, flip them over. And now it's the same movement, but with the palms facing the ceiling, which is going to be, I find, a little more intense. Although it could just be that this is our second set, and your wrists are probably saying, what are you doing? And feel that work, not just in the forearms, but in the hands and the fingers too. Let's do 3 more. And 2. And last one. Good. Then shake it out a little bit. Last exercise, we're going to hold our arms out in front of you, big giant Mickey Mouse hands. And we're just going to rotate the hands out and in, sort of like a clown waving bye-bye. Hopefully slightly creepy clown. Those are my favorite kinds. And see if you can keep your shoulders pretty still. So this is really a rotation from the elbow joint down. Keep lots of energy through the hands here, through the palms. Really try to open up the palms out in front of you. If you're doing this with your arms up overhead, palms are opening up towards the ceiling. Let's do 3 and 2 and 1. And then shake it out. All right, everybody, I hope you feel lots of delicious blood having flowed to your hands and your forearms. You probably got a little pump there in the forearms. And this is really good for countering the stiffness that happens when we do a lot of repetitive work with our hands. So like I said, really good to couple this with some of our shoulder routines that I have linked here. So that will work your entire upper body. Please hit the subscribe button for more tidbits like this. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and happy bendings.